we don't really track anything specifically. I don't really adhere to any specific diet like paleo or keto or anything like that. We have a ballpark number of something that we're striving for in terms of calories, but I'm sure we're hit or miss on that.
Matt Fraser is not here for your diet dogma. He doesn't want to hear about your paleo. He doesn't want to hear about your keto. The guy doesn't even track his protein intake. He has a very simple approach to nutrition, but he does have a few important rules that he does follow that helps him to compete and excel at the highest level of his sport. And I really mean the highest level of CrossFit. This is the big one. This is Matt Fraser. He is one of the most successful CrossFit athletes of all time. He's the fittest man on earth for the last 4 years. He won the CrossFit Games in 2016, 17, 18, and 19. And in 2014 and 15, he came second. He is indomitable. He is a machine. He is the fittest man on earth. And in this video, we're gonna be talking about his calories, his macronutrients, his micronutrients, his supplements, his sleep schedule, everything, the whole shebang, everything you've ever wanted to know about Matthew Fraser. Now, before I cut back to him, I need to make the kind of embarrassing confession that our video recording technology broke during this interview. So going forward, I only have audio of Matt Fraser. I know it's really stupid, but it is still Matthew Fraser, the fittest man on earth. This information is still really useful. So as I mentioned, he doesn't really track his numbers as rigidly as many other athletes out there, but he does have a rough calorie goal that he aims for, and it actually varies depending on the time of year.
Right after a competition, when I take my off season, I'm not training at all. I'm eating 1, maybe 2 meals a day. And then when I start ramping back in, I'm only training once a day. So, I'm probably hitting 3,000-4,000 calories. And then when I'm in full swing and, my only purpose during the day is I wake up and everything is directed towards training, that's probably when the calories get ramped back up to like 6,000-7,000 calories a day.
Now, in the grand scheme of sports nutrition, the most important areas of your diet with regard to your success and your performance as an athlete generally go in this order. Calories are the most important, then you're gonna get macronutrients, that's the protein, carbohydrates, and fat. The micronutrients, that's like vitamins and minerals and when you eat as well. And then there's supplements and hydration at the very end of the priority list. So after we talked about calories, I wanted to get really finely, deeply into the macronutrient ratios that Matthew Fraser follows, but he just doesn't really care for macros.
You know what food is good for you and what food's bad for you. I hardly ever eat at restaurants or anything like that. Basically, if food comes in a package, I'm not eating too much of it. It's mainly just like meat, vegetables, ton of rice, and probably, a good amount of fruit too.
Now, this has echoes of the paleo approach to eating. I mean, the man does eat rice. I mean, he really eats rice.
I eat white rice just about every meal. Most breakfast, there's a side of white rice, or, I put the white rice in my omelet. But yeah, we cook up big batches, and, there's just always a bucket of rice in the fridge. So it's whatever I'm eating, throw a couple scoops of rice on the side. And I find that really beneficial.
Now, rice is not paleo, and neither is Matthew Fraser. I need to make that very clear. He is not paleo, he eats wheat, he eats dairy, he eats a lot of other things that are not paleo. But what I mean when I say his approach is a bit reminiscent of the paleo approach to eating is that unlike a lot of his fellow CrossFit athletes who weigh their food and really rigidly track their calories and macronutrients, micronutrients, and supplements, Matt Fraser is more about eating whole foods, avoiding processed foods where he can. He doesn't eat out very often where he doesn't know what's going to be in the food. He doesn't think about macronutrient ratios very much, that sort of thing. It's a bit more, natural way of eating.
I remember at one point I tried, forget what it was. I tried paleo, and this is after I think I had won the games once or twice, and it was like, okay, I'm always looking for places I can gain a bit of an edge, get better. And I remember training while I was eating like that, and it did not work for me at all. So, we still definitely did refine things and try to make things better, but just not adhering to that strict plan. We really just tried to make my diet more consistent. I had a problem before where I would go 12, 14 hours without eating, and then I would show up to training and I was tired and just bonk out. So I'd have to go eat, wait until, I felt better. And so now I just try to eat more consistently throughout the day.
But the man doesn't eat boring food. You can actually follow his wife Sammy's Instagram account where you can see all the food she prepares for him. It's called Feeding the Frasers. And there's some really good looking stuff on there. There's like pistachio crusted lamb racks to smoked baby back ribs, all kinds of tacos, also plenty of desserts like cream cheese strawberry biscuits. And normally Sammy includes the recipe, so that's actually a really, really good resource if you want to eat a bit more like Matt Fraser. As a side note, while we're talking about the kinds of meals he has, Matt Fraser was very famous for a while for eating a pint of ice cream every single night to get his calories in. But he stopped doing that for 2 reasons.
A couple things happened there. I saw the Fittest film, and I didn't realize how big I was until I saw that movie, and kind of went, oh my God, I thought I could out-train a bad diet, and it was very apparent that I couldn't. Throughout the whole 2015 season, I was dealing a lot with, I don't want to say injuries, but, just like inflammation and joint pain, stuff like that. And so probably the heavy dairy that whole season was causing a bit more of the inflammation, or at least not helping with it. So, just between the body composition and how my body felt, decided that we should probably cut that out.
All right, so now let's talk about supplements.
Basically, every meal is meat, vegetable, and rice.
Now we're talking about supplements. This is supplements now. Okay, so Matt Fraser's supplement routine is pretty uncomplicated. He does not take multivitamins, he doesn't take collagen, and he doesn't take fish oil.
I have taken fish oils in the past, but I just found that they just made my training so miserable with, if you have a burp and then you just get that terrible fish oil taste. So I've started avoiding those. Yeah, my supplements, they're pretty simple. I don't get too caught up on this is the special formula. I take my whey protein, BCAAs, pre-workout, and then the CBD stuff that I kind of implement throughout the day. But besides that, there's nothing too crazy.
BCAAs, by the way, that stands for branched chain amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. The branched chain amino acids are the 3 that are sort of most closely associated with muscle protein synthesis. So a lot of people take branched chain amino acid supplements like this one here because it can be useful for really long workouts, help to keep your energy up and helping you to retain muscle and maybe help you to focus as well. A lot of people also like to take them if they're exercising on an empty stomach, or if they're just going a really long time without protein, because this might help you to retain muscle. There's a lot of interesting studies supporting this. There's also plenty that don't. I take them myself though. I find them quite useful, and Matt Fraser is also a really big fan of them. He takes Extend's BCAAs, which is really the most popular, or easily one of the most popular branched chain amino acid supplements on the market. But he doesn't take their regular BCAAs. They actually reached out to him and asked him what he wants in BCAAs, and they made him his own BCAA supplement.
Extend made a product. It was my product, and it was literally just they're like, what do you like? So they put in their Pico 2 blend and beta alanine. So I love that. It just feels like it opens up my lungs, and it just feels like it helps.
To recap, that supplement has branched chain amino acids in it. It also has Pico 2, which is a blend of adaptogenic mushrooms that some research suggests might help to improve oxygen uptake. And as Fraser said, he does feel it helps to open up his lungs a lot. And there's also beta alanine in there, which is a really popular ingredient in pre-workouts that has some links to improved endurance. He also takes some C4 as a pre-workout sometimes, which also has caffeine and a bit of beta alanine.
Basically, I'm just looking for anything with a bit of caffeine and beta alanine. So usually my go-to for that is just the C4 carbonated, but that depends on what I'm doing in training. If I have a little time before training, C4 carbonated because it's a bit more volume. And then if, I'm jumping right into training, I'll have just a C4 on the go. And then usually I'll have BCAAs.
All right, so we've covered his calories, his meals, his supplements. The last thing I want to talk about here is something that's very, very popular in athletic circles right now, and that is CBD. That is a cannabinoid. It's a chemical found in cannabis. It does not get you high, but there is some evidence that it could help with inflammation, anxiety, focus, that sort of thing. It's very, very newly legal on a federal level, and now it's exploding in popularity all over the place. And Matt Fraser, like Tia Claire Toomey, the fittest woman on earth, takes plenty of CBD throughout the day. And it is at this point, I need to make it very clear that Matt Fraser and Tia Claire Toomey are both also sponsored by a CBD CBD company called Beam. And Beam actually helped to set up this interview. Now, they did not pay us any money to do that. This is not a sponsored post. They had no input into the script whatsoever. It's not that kind of video, but they are a little bit involved behind the scenes here in that they helped us to set up the video. So, Matt Fraser takes 2 different products from Beam, 2 different CBD products. There's one for the morning and one for night. The one in the morning contains like some CBD, some adaptogenic mushrooms and roots, which might also help to focus. And the one at nighttime, that contains CBD and some melatonin and some magnesium, all of which together can potentially help to reduce anxiety and help to improve the onset of sleep and sleep quality as well. And sometimes Matt Fraser sleeps like 10 hours a night.
And, you know, sleep is a huge part of my regimen routine. And so, you know, with something that's helping promote better sleep for me, that's a huge game changer. It's super easy to like put into my schedule. Every night, you know, before bed, you know, it's, you know, turn off the phone, turn off the TV, and I would always have a cup of tea, and just read a book, you know, just kind of shut off the blue light, you know, clear the head. And I always drank this tea. It's called sleepy time tea. You know, it just helps get you a little bit tired. So I literally just replaced that with Dream. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff in it that helps make sleep an easier routine. So that's definitely the biggest one.
Now, I've heard this kind of stuff from Matt Fraser and Tia Claire Toomey, as well as athletes who are not paid by CBD companies like Tom and Luke Stoltman, who are really successful strongmen. They came 2nd and 3rd at this year's World's Ultimate Strongman. All these athletes tell me that it's useful for helping them to sleep, helping to reduce inflammation, helping to improve focus, all this sort of stuff. But I do have to have a bit of another disclaimer here, which is that although CBD is federally legal, and the World Health Organization, the National Institutes on Drug Abuse, and perhaps most importantly for athletes, the World Anti-Doping Agency, all said they have no problems with CBD, the FDA is still a bit skittish about it. They published a paper in late 2019 where they said, look guys, there's potential that it might be bad for your liver, it might interact with other medications. More importantly than all that, or not more importantly, but in addition to all that, it's just very, very new. It hasn't been legal for very long, so we don't have a ton of evidence on long-term usage. So they would like rather us be a little bit more careful with our approach to it than just taking CBD all day, every day. But in any case, it is legal and a lot of athletes like it. All right, that's it. That is everything you need to know about Matt Fraser's diet. We've got the whole shebang there. We've got the calories, we've got the macronutrients, the meal templates, the supplements, the CBD, everything he likes to do to remain at the top of his game and compete as the fittest man on earth. So I really, really want to thank Matt Fraser for coming on the show today. And I guess I should also thank Beam for getting him on the show for us. The full written article is in the description below where you can learn more about these kinds of things. I got a few more quotes from him in the full article there. And make sure you subscribe as well, so we've got a whole lot more fitness content and nutrition content coming up.